James Lennon Podcast. The James Lennon Podcast. James Lennon Podcast. The James Lennon Podcast. James Lennon Podcast. The James Lennon Podcast. You are listening to the James Lennon Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the James Lennon Podcast. This is your host, Jimmy the Fireman. A lot has changed since my last episode aired last Friday. I have since transitioned from a regular man to a fireman. So my pronouns are now fireman, fire him. If you could please respect me and only refer to me as a fireman, I'd really appreciate that. That'd be really good of you guys to do that from here on out, because that's just what I am. I'm a fireman now. What had happened was, after I aired last week's episode, I had a full mental breakdown. It happens to the best of us. I'm okay now. I'm actually better than ever because I'm a fireman now. But at the time, I was having a full mental breakdown. And what I thought was the best thing for me to do was to come back home to my house in Long Island to see my mom and dad for some love and support. So that's what I did. I took an Uber from Long Island City to Long Island, Seacliff, New York. And it was $100, waste of money if you ask me. I'm surprised. If I was a fireman at that point in time, I think I would have gotten some sort of discount because that's what I earned. That's what I deserve as a fireman. I deserve discounts on my Ubers, but at the time, I was not a fireman. I was just a regular man. So I didn't get that discount. I didn't get that fireman discount. But I come home and looking for love and support from my mom and dad, and guess who's not home? My mom and dad. So I did the next best thing. I come into my dad's office, which, I don't even know why he has an office. He's a retired fireman like me, following in the old man's footsteps. But like when I retire 30 years down the line, I'm not going to need an office. The only office I'll need is the great outdoors and a couple people to help. So I don't know why he has an office. It makes no sense. He doesn't need one. Being a retired fireman and having an office is kind of like being a kid with no arms and having a set of golf clubs. It makes no sense. You're not going to need those golf clubs, you armless bastard. You're not going to need them because you don't have any arms. What are you going to do? Put your fucking bite down on a putter? Putt it? No, you don't need it. Same thing with a fireman, a retired fireman needing an office. He doesn't need one. So I come into my dad's office and I destroy it. I start throwing cups of pencils out of anger because I was having a full mental breakdown. I took his laptop, threw it on the ground, stomped on it like it owed me money. I took the album out of the case here, ate it whole. Was still feeling a little hungry, so I took to this thing, started biting on this. I saw a window, ripped it right out of the sill. So now there's just a gaping hole behind the camera here. Then I took this thing right here, shoved it up my ass. It was a trophy my dad won for a film back in 2003 rather, and I shoved it right up my ass. I went with this side first because I was really angry at myself. And, this platform used to be a solid white, an eggshell white, before I shoved it up my ass, and now it's black. I don't know what that says about my insides, but I think I need to see a doctor. But I got it pretty far up there. I got it right up to the armpit. Right up to the armpit is where it stopped going in. I couldn't get it in any further, so I had to take it out. Because that's just the mood I was in, and I was having a full mental breakdown. But in the midst of that mental breakdown, something fell from up above, almost from the heavens, and clocked me in the head. And when I looked down at the ground to see what had hit me, it was this hat. It was my dad's old fireman hat. And part of me, in my mental breakdown, wanted to take it and frisbee it the fuck out the open window, but I decided not to because a voice in the back of my head said, hey, put it on. A nice, calm, soothing voice goes, put it on. Put it on. And I don't know about you guys, but I always listen to the voices in my head, and I think you should too. Listening to the voices in your head, it's a good idea, whether they're foreign or whether they're your own voice, you should still listen to them regardless. Look at Son of Sam. Son of Sam was a serial killer who had voices in his head telling him to kill people, and that's what he did. And he's going to live on in infamy now. He's one of the most popular serial killers of all time. You don't get that far in life by not listening to the voices in your head. Who knows where he'd be right now? He would not be living the life he's living now if he didn't listen to the voices in his head. He'd probably be some fucking loser working a job he doesn't even like. So good for him. He's a fan of the program. So shout out to Son of Sam. I love your work. You're a good guy. Enjoy prison. That's where he's at right now. That's like the pinnacle. That's like he's in the Hall of Fame for serial killers. And you don't not end up in jail when you're a Hall of Fame serial killer. So he's right where he wants to be. And that's all because he listened to the voices in the back of his head. And that's what I did. So instead of frisbeeing this helmet out the window, I put it on. And everything in my life just stopped. And I had a moment of clarity, and everything started to make sense. Everything started to make sense, I started talking like this, which is I think it's been my real voice my entire life. I think I've been a fireman my entire life. It just took till now to realize that. And my life has meaning now. It's got purpose. I know you guys tune into this podcast to listen to me shit on myself and make fun of how bad my life is. Ha ha ha, real funny, but not anymore because I'm a fireman now. And also, part about being a fireman is that you got to say that you're a fireman at least 17 times every 10 minutes, because that's just part of the job. And when I'm on the job, I'm a fireman, and that's just what I am. I'm a fireman. I'm a fireman. I'm a fireman. I think I'm almost there. I'm tallying in the back of my head. What do you want back there? You fucking done? Fucking, I don't even know what that was. Probably some more divine intervention trying to smack me in the back of the head. But yeah, being a fireman, this has been the most rewarding week of my life. It's been the most rewarding week of my life. It's also been the most challenging week of my life. Being a rook, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure of the ropes. I don't really know what to do. So I went into New York City for some guidance. Went to a couple houses. Figured I'd sub a guy out, take his tour for the night. And they more or less laughed me out of the house. I went to about 5 houses, and they all had the same reaction. One house actually laughed at my penis. They started calling me fire crotch. They gathered all the guys around and like, look at this fire crotch. His dick's on fire. We got to put it out. That's what we do. We're firemen. We got to put it out. So then they all pinned me down. They took my pants off, and then they hosed my cock down. I guess it's some crude joke because I got red hair. They think I got red pubes, which I guess means my penis is on fire. But let me tell you something. My penis is just fine. All right? My penis is not on fire. Maybe that one time I had chlamydia, it was on fire, but that's a different story. So I don't think I deserve to have my penis put out by a bunch of fucking loser firemen. Okay? They don't know what I had all that time I had the helmet on, and they still didn't show me an inch of respect. You know, I don't get it. Instead, they took a legit fireman's hose, they pantsed me, and they sprayed my penis down to put it out. They were putting out my penis. Yeah, that's real funny. Put out a guy's penis, huh? Guess what? Now it's 3 sizes bigger than it used to be because it's swollen. Suck on that. How's that for a silver lining? I got a fucking 3-inch penis now, okay? Because it grew 3 inches ever since you sprayed it down. It's swelled up. It's swelled up. So that's helping me out in the short term for a little bit. All right? But it's all a big joke to them. But they just don't understand that I'm a fireman. But I don't need them. I don't identify as a New York City fireman anyway. I don't want to be a New York City fireman. I want to be a James Lennon fireman, which is what I am. Jimmy the Fireman. And you can't tell me what I am and what I am not. In this day and age, I could be whatever I want to be. And so I figured if I want to be a fireman, I am a fireman, and that's what I am. But now, like, I used to be a selfish bastard. Now I'd give the shirt off my back to a stranger, depending on what the sunlight is like. If there was clouds and it was a bit of a gloomy day, there was some fog, the UVA lights weren't strong, I would give the shirt off my back to a stranger. But if there was sun out, I can't afford to take my shirt off in the sun because I do not want to get skin cancer at this age. So I'd have to figure out a different alternative to help out this person who's in need of a shirt. Hopefully, I think I'm going to start walking around with spare shirts just in case it's too sunny to give mine off my own back. A typical day in the life of a fireman is I wake up, then I put my clothes on, and then I walk a beat. I walk around town, Seacliff, New York. I peek through people's windows, make sure they're safe, mostly through the kitchens, because that's where the number one place where fires start in the house is in the kitchen. Second place is the basement. Third place is the teenage son's room who just discovered marijuana. That's the third place where the fire starts. So I check all those places, and I check that of every house in Seacliff. I walk in the backyard, I peek in the windows, I make sure everyone's safe. And they don't have to see me because I don't need to relish in the thank yous, you know? I don't need to be thanked. I'm not in this business to be thanked. I'm in this to help people. And so this one day last week, I'm walking a beat. Sorry, this is a little tough for me to talk about. Some lady is in her house and she's cooking in the kitchen. Everything's fine. I'm watching her from outside in her backyard, and she thinks it's a good idea to turn the burners on and then walk out of the room. And as a fireman, when I see that gives me full permission to break in. You know, so I headbutted the window, smithereens, glass shards everywhere. I step into the window. I go in. I take a cup of water. I always walk around with a cup of water because you never know when you're going to need it. You never know when you're going to need it as a fireman. You should always have some sort of body of water near you. But in this particular case, I did have my glass of water, so I sprayed out the burner. Fire's good now. Everything's good. I saved the day. But then, of course, nothing goes as smoothly as it should when you're a fireman. The lady comes in hysterical, being like, "What are you doing in my house? What are you doing? Why'd you break in through the window? What's going on here?" I was like, "Okay, lady, you got to calm down. I do understand. You have the right to be hysterical because you did just almost burn alive." She did just almost burn alive. I did save a life. So she does have the right to be hysterical, but don't jump down my throat, please. As a fireman, I don't appreciate that. A thank you would be nice. You know, a thank you would be nice. She threatened to call the cops. As a matter of fact, she did call the cops, and I didn't stick around for that. Only because as a fireman, we do not have a good relationship with the cops. It's a little bit of a rivalry. Like, they think they're so much better than me because they have a gun. Well, guess what? I got a gun too. As a fireman, you got to stay strapped. A lot of people don't know this, but the best way to put out a fire is to shoot at it. you go pew, 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 right at the fire, it usually puts it right out. So I do walk around town with a gun as well. That keeps the people safe. No one is alarmed when they see a man with a fire helmet and a gun. But she was hysterical. She did call the cops on me. I did hightail out of there because I didn't want to deal with the ball busting of the cops. You know, like they're so much better than you because they have a license to be armed. Sure, I don't have a license for this piece. Sure, I don't have a license for this gun. That can't stop me from shooting it, can it? Right? That's what I thought. Like anyone could shoot an unarmed black kid. You stupid cop. You dumb piece of shit. How dare you even try to do that shit? Not me. The firemen aren't racist. There's not a single racist fireman out there. That's a fact. You know, we're not racist like those pig cops. All right? Because we put out fires. We don't care who's in the building. We'll get them out. Race, creed, religion. We're not like those stupid pig cops. God, I hate them. They think they're so much better than you. Next day, the following day, I was doing another beat, walk around town. I come across a lady in a tree. She's about 5'2", 320. She's an elderly lady. She's a grandma. She's suspended by the cane. She's just holding on for her dear life. She's about 15 feet in the air. You know, if she were to let go, she probably would have died. She would have broken every body She would have broken every body. Look at me. I'm such a goof. I'm not used to this. As a fireman, I'm not used to podcasting, so I apologize. This is technically my first podcast as a fireman, so I'm sorry if I have any flubs. But if she were to fall from the cane, she would have broken every bone in her body from her pinky toe on the way up to her head. She would have just disintegrated down into the ground. But luckily I was there. I scaled the tree, climb up. I take hold of the cane. We're both holding on to the cane now. Then I grab her off. I tell her to let go, throw her over the shoulder. Now I'm suspended by the cane, and we're just dangling there. And then I unhook it, and then we float down to the ground like a Mary Poppins. Unfortunately for the both of us, though, she did crap her pants on impact. But luckily for the both of us, she was wearing her adult diapers, so there was minimal spillage. I did have to hose her down, though, just in case. I didn't want her walking around smelling like shit. You know, she was an old lady. She's probably going to die soon. I don't want anyone's last memory of this person to be that she smells of shit. So I did hose her down nice and good. She was very squeaky clean. And she thanked me. That was a breath of fresh air. I got to thank you. But again, it's not about the thank yous. It's about the security. It's about making people feel safe. I show up to a park and everyone just sigh of relief from everybody. They're like, oh, this guy who's definitely not some weirdo with a helmet. He's just a fireman. And he's going to be protecting us while we push our kids on swings, while we watch our kids climb on the monkey bars or whatever, you know, which I think is a racist term, monkey bars. I think that should be expunged. That should be expunged from the English dictionary, you know, monkey bars. I don't like that at all. Not on my watch. You know, as a fireman, you got to watch out for racist terms because, like I said before, firemen aren't racist. There's not a single racist fireman out there. I'm willing to bet money on that. What else has changed about me? I've got two beautiful boys now, Ronnie and Carmichael. Ages 9 and 11. I acquired them from a Big Brother program. Some would say kidnapped. I would say rescued. You know, that's what I call them. They're my two little rescues. You know, I love them to death. And the hardest part of my day, sorry, I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional. But the hardest part of my day is when I come back to my two beautiful boys. And they keep asking me question after question after question. They keep asking me, where's mom? Where's mom? We want our mom. And they're crying. They're like, where's our mom? We want our mom. And I have to explain to them that I'm a single parent, that I'm a single father. And it's one of the hardest jobs ever is being a single father. Being a single father is harder than being a fireman, never will be. So I got two of the hardest jobs out there, single father and a fireman. And that's the good thing about this podcast, though. I do have a decent amount of listeners, some of them female. So, ladies, if you do want to help me raise these two beautiful boys, Ronnie and Carmichael, I'd really appreciate that. We could go on a date, and hopefully on that date I can convince you to be the mother to my children. I'm taking applications, the James Lennon Podcast at gmail.com, which I'm going to have to change to the Fireman Podcast at gmail.com, I think, because I am a fireman. I need to have that in my Gmail. But, yeah, you could reach out to us, the James Lennon Podcast at gmail.com. I am taking applications for a new mother. So if you want to be the mother to my father, the mother to my kids, I would love to have you on board. We'll go on a few dates. I'll convince you. I'll say, hey, you don't want to get pregnant. If you want to be a mother, you have to get pregnant. You don't have to be a pregnant mother in this situation. You're just a mother right away. No paperwork, no sex. We won't even have to have sex. Having sex to make kids, that's such a lame way to do it. Who does that anymore? Having sex to have kids, it's just that's a thing of the past. You want kids, you go out there and you take the kids. That's what I did. You want a couple of kids, you go out there and you take them, and then you're a parent. You know, you don't want to have your vagina ruined, your uterine lining. You know, I'm not a doctor, I don't know the terms, but I know there's a lining that has a uterine in it or something like that. So you don't want to ruin any of that stuff. You don't want stretch marks. You don't want weight gainage. Just come on board. You're an immediate mother, and you have 2 beautiful boys to take care of. You know what's better than that? Such a dream. I also am not getting paid. I'm an unpaid fireman right now because I'm really just moonlighting as a fireman. I'm not really sure how the payment works. I'm still waiting to figure that out. That's something that I need to learn as I go on. So we do need some income. So we have 0 income, me and my 2 boys who are right over there in the corner. They're just watching. Stop it. Don't give me that look, Carmichael. Don't give me that. He's the oldest one. He's 11. He thinks he's a smart aleck. Carmichael, stop it. No, we're going to get you a mother soon. If you would shut up and let me do my thing here, we might get you a mother quicker than you'd think. But if you stop interrupting me, if you could stop okay, yeah, I need a mother's touch here. So if you could please come and send me an application, send me a resume as a mother, and I'll get you on board. Because my parents, they're not helping at all. I introduced my 2 kids to my mom and dad. You know, I thought they'd be excited. They're grandparents now. But my mom was hysterical. She's like, well, James, where'd you get these kids? Who are these kids? Where'd you get these kids from, James? Oh, my God, what did you do? What have you done? I'm like, Mom, enough. You know, you're a grandma now. You can't be acting like this anymore. You can't be this hysterical. You got 2 beautiful grandkids that you got to look after and support financially. Because, I like I said before, I am making 0 money as a fireman. But I don't do it for the money. I do it for the love of the game. But then my dad got involved. He tried to take the kids away from me. He tried to grab the kids away from me, and that's when I clocked him. Because I'm not only a firefighter, I'm a father fighter now. I'll fight my father. And, you know, he used to be a firefighter. I'm sure at one point in time he was a father fighter. Because that's just what comes with the job. As a firefighter, you become a father fighter. And as a father fighter, you are a firefighter. Okay? Those 2 things go in tandem. But you don't touch my kids, Dad. You don't touch my kids. So I tuned them up a little bit. Gave them a nose job. Knuckle sandwich right to the face. Okay? You don't touch my kids. How long do you think I could have kept that up? Holy shit, I just blacked out. Am I one of the best actors of all time? I didn't break once. I am one of the best actors of all time. I think I must be. If you didn't just watch that last 15 minutes and think to yourself, wow, this is like a Daniel Day-Lewis type character, then you're an idiot. Because I think I'm just one of the greatest actors of all time. That was just a great performance. I deserve an Oscar. Why Oscar so white? You know, why there's not enough pale people being represented in this year's Oscar nominations. So I think I could balance that out. If they nominate me for that performance, I could balance out the Oscar nominations in terms of color. Because, you know, I didn't see anyone with a surplus of freckles get nominated this year. I didn't see anyone with red hair get nominated this year. So what they should do is nominate me for that Fireman performance, and I'll show up and I'll accept the award on behalf of all redheads. I always wanted to be a fireman. Being a fireman is such a dope job. You work like 3 days a week, you make $60K a year, you really just play foosball and cook in the kitchen. That's what being a fireman is all about. Playing foosball, ping pong, billiards, whatever game they got, and then making a nice meal and then having a sleepover with the boys. That is literally the definition of being a fireman. Sleepovers with the boys. You're just a grown-over sleepover party. It's just a grown-up sleepover party. That's all it is. You fucking sleep in a room with 8 other dudes after a hard day's work of playing foosball and making food. So that's what I want to do. I want to be a fireman. I took the fireman's test when I was 17, failed with flying colors. My dad was, I'll never forget the look on my dad's face. It was just the look of utter failure. He was so disappointed in me. He wanted me to follow in his footsteps, and I couldn't even do that. He was disappointed because he was like, how did I pass the test, James? James, I passed the test, and you couldn't even pass the test? I dropped out of high school, and you couldn't pass the test? He said, son, I know you failed the firefighter test. I know you'll never be a real firefighter, so I guess this is the closest thing you'll ever become to being a fireman. And he gave me this helmet, and I wear it in his honor. And this helmet has seen a lot. It's been through the ringer. You know, it's seen everything from 9/11. This helmet was down there at Ground Zero. It's seen everything from 9/11 to a Puerto Rican's bachelor party in low-income housing. You know, it's seen it all. My fucking cleaning lady is here, and it's driving me crazy. My therapist is on vacation. This is what happens when my therapist is on vacation. Oops, I dropped something. I'll be right back. This right here is what happens when my therapist goes on vacation. I go off the rails. I need someone to dump my problems on, or else this happens. You guys see this? Or else this happens. I've fully lost it. I did have a mental breakdown, and I needed my therapist to talk to, but he was gone on vacation. You know, he's an elderly Jewish man. He's probably fly fishing in Florida or doing whatever he does. You know, he's probably hitting up a gefilte fish stand in fucking the Key West. So I could have really used him. I was about to do a What About Bob situation and just go and find him and follow him to his vacation home and bombard him with my complaints and my shitty life. But I couldn't find him. I couldn't navigate where he was. So I had to do the next best thing and just ruin this office, ruin my dad's office, which he doesn't need. I already talked about that. I need like a plethora of therapists, you know? Clearly. I need like a Monday therapist, a Tuesday therapist, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Because I shouldn't have to go a week without talking to somebody. Because this is what happens. I got this gun because of all the shootings that have happened. You know? I'm a quick draw. Yeah, I don't know what to do about these shootings, man. They're fucking crazy. I think what we have to do is start doing background checks on people who buy trench coats. Because that's where the problem starts. It doesn't start with a gun, it starts with the trench coat. There hasn't been a single mass shooter in the past 20 years that didn't shoot up a place while wearing a trench coat. They all wear trench coats. I don't know why. I guess it's a cool look. I guess it looks cooler when you're shooting people up and like your coat is longer. I guess that's what the deal is. But, you know, as a fireman, if I was in that grocery store in Colorado, that guy wouldn't have got a shot off because I would have headbutted him with the helmet. Knocked him unconscious, tied him up, take him out back, and bang him or something. You know, I would have done the right thing. I would have made his life a living hell. But yeah, it starts with trench coats, guys. That's the only thing I know about this whole gun restriction stuff. I'm the least qualified person to be talking about this. I mean, look at me. I'm the least qualified person to be talking about this. But you got to talk about it. You got to talk about what's relevant, and this is what's relevant. 10 people died because we didn't do background checks on trench coats at H&M. I think more people should have guns. That's solve the gun crisis with more guns. That makes sense. Every American above the age of 13 should have a gun. 13 and older, you should be strapped at all times. Because let me tell you something, if everyone in that grocery store had a gun, I don't think that 10 people would have died. I don't think that guy would have killed 10 people. You know? Probably 30 people would have ended up dying because everyone would just started shooting each other, assuming that they're the shooter. Because like one shot goes off in aisle 7, you're in aisle 12, you hear shots go off, you pull your gun, you shoot the person in front of you thinking it was them, and then they start shooting, and everyone's just start blasting each other, and it's just an orgy of shooting. And that's what we need. That's how you solve the gun crisis. You need an orgy of shooting. An orgy of gunshots. Pew, 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 pew. Am I concerning anybody? I hope I am. I saw a tweet regarding the most recent shooting. It was so tone deaf and so stupid. And it was clearly a tweet that was like, look at me, let's take the attention off this tragedy and look at me, please. I'm not getting enough attention. Somebody's not getting enough attention. So they do this. I saw this tweet. It was like, I'm tired of living my life having to be worried about a straight white male shooting me up. It's like, shut the fuck up. That is a real tweet that somebody tweeted. Shut up. 10 people are dead. Stop making it about you. This isn't about you. You're making it about sexuality. You're throwing sexuality in the middle of this crisis. That doesn't make any sense, lady. That doesn't make any sense. I'm tired of waiting on straight white males to shoot me up. This person is using fucking this tragedy as a political football in the war against straight white males. There's a war against straight white males. And luckily, I'm not white. I'm actually transparent, so I'm not part of the problem. Not clear-minded, though. I'm foggy as a fuck. I'm foggy as a fuck? That's a fun thing to say. I'm foggy as a fuck. I'm foggy as a fuck. I'm crazy as a fuck. I'm crazy as a fuck. But yeah, let's not make this about straight white males, okay? It's a tragedy, and you're making it about yourself. You're dragging all the attention away from this tragedy to yourself, just so you can get some Twitter clout, so you can go viral. That's the only reason this person did that, because she knew the recipe to go viral, and that's to target straight white men. And that's what she did. And that's insulting to my straight white brothers. You know, I got 2 brothers, they're straight white males. That's insulting to them, okay? It's a little bit insulting, and I won't stand for it. I'm not going to just let that, I'm not going to sit here and let that pass me by and not acknowledge it. You got to acknowledge it. I'm tired of these straight white males shooting me up. It's like, you're not going to get shot up. The only time you're going to get shot up is when you get the vaccine, all right? Shut up. Pipe down. Again, I'm not qualified to talk about this, but it's a very small chance that you're going to get shot up. I know that there's a lot of shootings every year, but there's a very small chance that you're going to get shot up, lady. So please just shut the fuck up. You can mourn, like, do a tweet, thoughts and prayers. Do that, all right? Do that, which is tone deaf in itself, but at least that's not as annoying as just trying to throw my 2 brothers under the bus, okay? Because they're straight white males, all right? Enough of that, all right? I don't see them shooting up any movie theaters anytime soon, okay? You animal. I deleted my Instagram, guys. Good segue. My Instagram is gone. Rest in peace, Pimpin' Lennon 101. He's dead. He ceased to exist. He DM'd one too many people, and now he's dead. He's dead. I had to kill him. It's not fun anymore to DM. Let's get serious. Let me talk about my DM problem with a fireman's helmet on, a pair of shades, and a fucking and a 2-shooter. Pew 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 pew. But yeah, I DM'd too many people. I went off the rails, and I just DM'd every one of my fucking Instagram, every one of my followers. It was stupid. I never. No part of me being sober wants to DM anybody. It's just when I get blackout drunk, I just DM every single person I see posting a story. It's foolish. It's juvenile. It's idiotic. I hate that part about me. I hate that I ever did that, but no more. It's done. I'll never DM another person in my life. I'm over it. What am I doing? Striking up a conversation at 6 a.m. to somebody I barely know. And I don't even know who I'm talking to when I do it either. I have no idea who I'm talking to when I DM. I just wake up and I look at the people that I've talked to and I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I having a conversation with this person at 4 a.m? I don't need this. I don't need to be doing that. I'm 26, going on 25. I turned 25 this May. I just decided that is my COVID age. Because of COVID, I get to choose my own age because I lost a full year of my life, as you do too. You get to choose your own age, and I'm choosing 25, so I'm turning 25 this May. But that's still too old to be DMing people the way I was DMing people. It's foolish, it's juvenile, and I apologize to anyone I've ever DM'd publicly. This is a public apology about me DMing you, and I'm sorry, and it won't happen again, ever again. Because I'm a good dude. Who is James Lennon? He's not that creepy DMer. That's not him. That's not who I am. That's not what I represent. I am weird. I'm definitely a weirdo, but I don't want to be that type of weird. That's not my MO. That's not my vibe. You know, this is the weird I am. This is the type of weird I am. Not DMing someone at ungodly hours. You know, that's not who I am, and I apologize for it. Years of DMing. My career is over. It was a horrible career, and I won't miss it. So rest in peace, Pimpin' Lennon 101. He will not be missed. Maybe one day when I'm mature enough to have an Instagram and not act like a fucking complete asshole, I'll re-download Instagram and I'll be back at it again. But until then, I don't need Instagram anyway. Instagram is poison. You know, I've been going on walks. I went on a walk today. It was beautiful. It was lovely. I would never have gone on a walk if I had access to my old Instagram. The only Instagram I have is the James Lennon Podcast on Instagram, which which I only use to promote this podcast and for nothing else. So I've had a lot more free time not having an Instagram. I go on a walk. It's lovely. I wave at people. I smile through my mask, and it's beautiful. It's great. So I like going on walks now. I've replaced Instagram with walks, and I encourage everyone to delete their Instagrams too, because it is a poison, and it's preventing you from walking, which is how you live a full, healthy life, is if you go on walks. So join me in a walk. I'm going to do a walk for an anti-Instagram walkathon. That's what we're going to do. That's what the James Lennon Podcast is going to do. Anti-Instagram walkathon brought to you by the James Lennon Podcast. I'm not sure about dates. Should I do merch? If I did merch, would you guys buy it? No? Okay. All right. Well, let's nix that in the ass. No merch for me. I do want to do some merch. I want to make a sweatshirt and a coffee mug, or a tank top because summer's coming around. I don't know. But if you guys think I should do merch, reach out to me at the James Lennon Podcast at gmail.com and tell me if I should do merch. If you guys, I need a head of merch. I will hire head of merch. If anyone wants to be head of merch, let me know. And if you have any cool designs or cool ideas, talk to me and I'll get you involved. I'll get you on this crazy train called the James Lennon Podcast. Rest in peace, Pimpin' Lennon 101, baby. We're going to end on that. The James Lennon Podcast at gmail.com, at the James Lennon Podcast on Instagram, at JLPGods on Twitter. Guys, I'm tweeting more. Go follow my Twitter. Once I get more followers, I'll tweet more. So follow me on Twitter and I'll start tweeting random stupid shit like I used to when I was in high school. Best Twitter in high school, guys. That's what everybody said. You know? Oh, you didn't? Think again. That's going to do it. All right, guys. Be good. Later.